World War II produced some bizarre military experiments. Desperate nations built strange machines, trying to gain any advantage. Some were brilliant, some were catastrophic failures, and some were so weird they defied all logic. This is the weirdest tank of the war. The Bob Semple Tank. New Zealand, 1940. Japan is threatening the Pacific. Britain can't spare any armor. The Royal Navy is stretched thin across the Atlantic and Mediterranean. New Zealand sits alone at the bottom of the world, with 0 armored vehicles and a tiny defense force. So New Zealand's Minister of Public Works, Bob Semple, decides to build his own tank using whatever's available on a sheep farm. The base is a Caterpillar D8 bulldozer tractor. Music. It's agricultural equipment, not military hardware. The D8 was designed to clear land and push soil, not fight wars. The engine is a diesel unit producing maybe 100 horsepower. It maxes out at 5 miles per hour on flat ground. Uphill, it slows to a painful crawl. A man can literally outrun this machine. Compare that to a German Panzer II cruising at 25 miles per hour, or a Soviet T-34 hitting 33 miles per hour. The Bob Semple moves at the speed of farming, not warfare. The armor is corrugated iron sheets, not steel plate, not even thick steel, corrugated iron. The kind farmers use for barn roofs and storage sheds. It's bolted onto a wooden frame built by local carpenters. The metal is maybe 8 to 12 millimeters thick in places. A standard rifle round punches straight through. A machine gun turns it into Swiss cheese. Anti-tank weapons don't even register it as a target worth mentioning. For context, a Panzer Wife had 80 mm of frontal armor. The M4 Sherman had 76 mm. The Bob Semple had barn siding. The shape is a tall, angular box. There's no sloping, no angling to deflect shots. It's a rectangular target sitting 12 feet high. Crews nicknamed it the moving shed during trials. Visibility from inside is terrible because the vision slits are tiny, irregular holes cut into the corrugated metal. The driver can barely see where he's going. Moving on to the weapons. 6 Bren light machine guns. They're mounted in random positions around the hull. 1 in the front, 2 on each side, 1 in the back. The crew has to squeeze into impossibly cramped firing ports. There's no coordination between gunners, no commander position, no fire control. Everyone just shoots in different directions hoping to hit something. The Bren gun itself is a solid weapon, reliable and accurate. But mounting 6 of them on a slow-moving tractor doesn't create a tank. It creates a confused pillbox on tracks. The ammunition storage is a nightmare. Bren guns feed from 30-round box magazines. With 6 guns firing, the crew burns through ammo in minutes. There's no organized storage system. Magazines are just piled wherever there's space. Reloading under fire would be chaos. Spent casings pile up on the floor with nowhere to go. The interior becomes a hot, cluttered mess within seconds of engaging. The crew compartment fits 8 men. Barely. They're packed shoulder to shoulder in a space designed for 1 tractor driver. There's no ventilation. The engine heat is unbearable. The diesel fumes have nowhere to escape. In New Zealand's summer, men pass out from heat exhaustion during training exercises. The wooden frame and metal sheets turned the interior into an oven. Crew members reported headaches, nausea, and difficulty breathing after just 20 minutes inside during mock battles. Communication between crew members is nearly impossible. The engine roar drowns out voices. There are no intercom systems. The commander, assuming anyone could figure out who that was, has to physically tap shoulders or shout directly into ears. Coordinating 6 machine guns in different directions while the vehicle is moving and the engine is screaming is functionally impossible. Continuing with mobility. The tracks are standard Caterpillar bulldozer tracks. They're designed for pushing dirt, not combat maneuvering. The ground pressure is massive because the vehicle is so heavy relative to the track's surface area. It gets stuck in mud constantly. New Zealand has plenty of mud. During trials, the Bob Semple repeatedly bogged down in soft ground that wouldn't stop a civilian truck. Cross-country performance is abysmal. It can't climb steep hills. It struggles with ditches. Crossing a stream is a genuine challenge. The suspension is agricultural. It's built to absorb the shock of hitting rocks while plowing. not to provide a stable firing platform. When the vehicle moves, even at its glacial pace, the entire structure shakes and rattles. Hitting accuracy from the machine guns drops to nearly zero while moving. The crew gets thrown around inside. Equipment falls off mounts. The wooden frame creaks and groans under stress. Turning radius is terrible. The D8 bulldozer wasn't designed for tactical maneuvering. Making a 90-degree turn takes forever and requires significant space. In combat, this thing couldn't evade, couldn't flank, couldn't reposition quickly. It would sit in one spot and hope the enemy didn't notice it or didn't care enough to shoot. The problem is everything. The armor can't stop bullets. The guns can't aim properly. The engine can't move at faster than a walking pace. The crew can't function in the cramped, overheated interior. The suspension can't handle combat conditions. The structure can't survive any real punishment. Any real tank would destroy it in seconds. A German Panzer II, literally the lightest tank in the Wehrmacht arsenal, would shred this vehicle from 500 meters. The Bob Semple wouldn't even know where the shots were coming from before it was burning. Why it exists anyway? Desperation and resourcefulness. New Zealand genuinely feared Japanese invasion in 1940. Singapore hadn't fallen yet, but everyone could see the writing on the wall. Britain was fighting for survival in Europe. The Pacific was wide open. New Zealand had 0 tanks, 0 heavy weapons, 0 chance of getting modern armor from Britain or America in the near future. Bob Semple proposed building something, anything, using local resources and farm equipment. The idea was to mass-produce these tractors quickly, using New Zealand's agricultural industrial base, and scatter them across beaches as static pillboxes. Better to have 50 terrible tanks than 0 tanks when the Japanese landing craft hit the shore. The political context matters. Bob Semple was a populist politician, known for practical, hands-on solutions. He genuinely believed New Zealand could bootstrap its way to defense. The project had public support initially because it looked like action. It looked like the government was doing something instead of waiting helplessly. Newspapers ran photos of the prototypes. Citizens felt reassured, even if military experts were quietly horrified. 3 prototypes were built. None ever fired a shot in combat. Military leadership quietly shelved the project once they realized how impractical it was. Field trials revealed every flaw. The Army couldn't find a single tactical scenario where the Bob Semple performed better than just hiding infantry in actual bunkers. The project died by mid-1941. The prototypes were disassembled. The Caterpillar tractors went back to farming. Nobody talked about it for years. The Bob Semple became a symbol of New Zealand's determination, but also a reminder that good intentions don't overcome bad engineering. It represents the gap between what a small, isolated nation wanted to achieve and what was physically possible with the resources available. Modern New Zealanders view it with affectionate humor. It's become a meme in military history circles, a cautionary tale about what happens when politicians design weapons. And finally, the verdict. It's a monument to desperation. A tractor wearing sheet metal isn't a tank. It's a death trap that would have gotten its crew killed instantly against any real armor. The crew would have been safer in a trench with rifles. At least they could scatter when artillery started landing. Trapped inside the Bob Semple, they'd have nowhere to go when the hull started taking hits. It wouldn't protect them. It would become their coffin. But in 1940, with invasion threatening and no alternatives, building something was better than building nothing. The Bob Semple represents the absolute weirdest extreme of wartime improvisation. It's proof that courage and resourcefulness can't always overcome material reality. Sometimes you just don't have what you need to win. The Bob Semple is weird, tragic, and strangely admirable all at once. It's a tank that never should have existed, built by a nation that refused to surrender without trying everything, no matter how absurd. Which weird World War II vehicle should I cover next? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more military history breakdowns.